The indigenous encounter that the government tried to erase forever. What if I told you that deep in the Brazilian wilderness, an indigenous man came face to face with beings that would change everything we know about contact? What happened next was buried by military forces, hidden in 600 pages of classified documents, and kept from you for nearly 3 decades. Until now, this is the story they never wanted you to hear. A story so terrifying, so unbelievable, that governments on 3 continents work together to silence it. But the truth has a way of surviving, even when powerful forces try to kill it. It started on an ordinary afternoon in Virginia, Brazil, a small city where nothing ever happens, where life moves slow and the biggest excitement is the weekend football match. But on January 20th, 1996, that all changed forever. 3 young women were walking home from work, cutting through an empty lot they had crossed 1,000 times before. What they saw in those next moments would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Crouching against a wall was something that should not exist. A creature with brown, oily skin, massive red eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light, and a smell so putrid it made them gag instantly. The thing had 3 bumps on its head, strange protrusions that pulsed with movement. It was small, maybe 4 feet tall, but the terror it radiated was immense. The girls screamed and ran, their hearts pounding so hard they thought they would explode. But here is where the story gets darker. Within hours, the Brazilian military descended on Virginia like a plague of locusts. Roadblocks went up. Armed soldiers in hazmat suits swept through the area. Witnesses reported seeing trucks with covered cargo leaving the zone, escorted by heavily armed convoys. The official story? A military exercise. Nothing to see here. Move along. Except people don't forget what they see. And in Virginia, dozens of people saw something that night. Soldiers capturing something alive. Something that screamed. Something that bled a liquid unlike any blood on Earth. The military surrounded a small zoo where the creature had apparently hidden, terrified and injured. Zoo workers reported that all their animals went absolutely silent when the soldiers arrived. Dead silent, as if they sensed a predator beyond their comprehension. One witness, a truck driver named Oralina, saw soldiers loading a wooden crate onto a military vehicle. She said the box was moving, shaking violently from the inside. The soldiers told her to leave immediately or face arrest. Their faces were white with fear. These were trained military personnel, and they looked terrified of whatever was in that crate. Then came the deaths. Young military officer Marco Eli Chiriz participated in the creature capture. He was 23 years old, healthy, strong. Within weeks of handling the being, he developed a mysterious infection. His immune system collapsed. Strange bacteria flooded his body, bacteria that doctors had never seen before. He died in agony, his organs failing one by one. The official cause? Pneumonia. But the doctors who treated him told a different story in hushed whispers. They said his body was fighting something extraterrestrial. Now let me ask you something. Do you believe there is life on other planets? Because what happened in Virginia suggests they are not just out there. They are here, and they have been here for a very long time. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The military investigation that followed produced over 600 pages of documentation. 600 pages about a simple misidentification. Does that make sense to you? The Brazilian government claimed the creature was just a homeless person covered in mud. But homeless people don't make soldiers wear hazmat suits. They don't cause mysterious fatal infections. And they definitely don't get loaded into military vehicles under armed guard in the middle of the night. Researchers who dug into the case discovered something even more disturbing. Multiple creatures were captured that day. Not just one. At least 3 beings were secured by military forces. One was transported to a local hospital under heavy guard, where doctors attempted to examine it. The being was still alive, still breathing. Nurses reported that it had a heartbeat unlike anything in terrestrial biology. The rhythm was wrong, too slow, too deliberate, as if its biology operated on completely different principles than ours. The hospital staff were threatened into silence. Sign these papers or lose your jobs. Speak about what you saw and face criminal prosecution. But some brave souls came forward anyway, risking everything to tell the truth. They described the creature's skin as having a texture like dolphin skin, but tougher, more resilient. Its eyes seemed to penetrate into your soul, communicating emotions without words. Fear, confusion, pain. What terrifies me most about this case is not what we know. It is what we don't know. Where did these beings come from? Why were they in Virginia? Were they injured from a crash? Were they scouts, prisoners, refugees? And most importantly, what did the military do with them after capture? Because make no mistake, those creatures disappeared into the black budget world of classified projects and they never came back. Some researchers believe the beings were transferred to underground facilities in the Amazon, where joint American and Brazilian military operations conduct experiments away from prying eyes. Others think they were transported to the United States, to facilities like Area 51 or the Dulce base in New Mexico. Imagine being one of those creatures, ripped from your world, held captive by a species that barely understands its own planet, let alone the cosmos beyond. The psychological impact on the witnesses was catastrophic. The three young women who first saw the creature developed severe PTSD. They couldn't sleep without nightmares. They saw those red eyes in every shadow. One of them said the creature looked at her with such profound sadness that it broke her heart, as if it knew it was doomed, as if it knew what humans do to things they fear and don't understand. Local UFO researchers documented a surge in strange activity around Virginia in the weeks before and after the capture. Mysterious lights in the sky, cattle mutilations, electronic equipment malfunctioning for no reason, power grids experiencing unexplained failures. It was as if something was searching for the missing creatures. As if somewhere out there, others like them knew what had happened and were desperately trying to find their lost companions. The smell that the creatures emitted became legendary in Virginia. Witnesses described it as ammonia mixed with sulfur and something else, something organic and wrong. It lingered in areas where they had been seen, sometimes for days. One theory suggests this was a defense mechanism, a biological warning system. But defense against what? What were these beings afraid of? What hunts the hunters? Here is where the conspiracy deepens into true horror. Intelligence documents leaked years later suggest this was not an isolated incident. Similar captures had occurred in other parts of South America, in Peru, in Argentina, in Chile, a pattern of contact and containment that governments across the continent had been managing in secret for decades. Virginia just happened to be the one time too many witnesses came forward to silence the story completely. Think about the implications. If these captures are real, it means we are not the dominant species on this planet. It means there are forces in our governments that have known about extraterrestrial life for generations and have deliberately kept humanity in the dark. It means every time you look up at the night sky and wonder if we are alone, the answer has already been found. And the answer is terrifying. The creature's biology suggested something even stranger. Analysis of tissue samples allegedly obtained by brave hospital workers revealed cellular structures that operated on principles unknown to terrestrial science. The cells seemed to repair themselves at an accelerated rate. They responded to electromagnetic fields in ways our cells never could. It was as if these beings were engineered for environments we cannot even imagine. But wait, there is more. Some witnesses reported that before its capture, the creature seemed to be communicating, making sounds, gestures, trying to convey something urgent. What if it was not hostile? What if it was asking for help? What if we captured and possibly killed beings that were reaching out in peace? The moral weight of that possibility is crushing. The military officer who died, Marco Chiriz, left behind a family that demanded answers. His sister became a vocal advocate for the truth, challenging the official narrative at every turn. She knew her brother was healthy before the operation. She knew he died from something extraordinary. The government offered her money to stay quiet. She refused. That takes courage most people will never have to summon. Years later, American researchers connected the Virginia incident to a broader pattern of extraterrestrial retrieval operations. Programs with names like Project Blue Fly and Moon Dust. operations designed to recover crashed craft and beings before the public could document them. Virginia fit the profile perfectly. Rapid military response, information suppression, witness intimidation. The playbook is always the same. What haunts me most is thinking about those creatures in their final moments. Scared, alone, far from home, surrounded by beings they could not communicate with, who saw them as threats or specimens rather than living, feeling entities. If consciousness exists in forms we don't recognize, then what we did in Virginia might be one of the greatest crimes in human history. The 600-page military report remains classified. Only fragments have leaked over the years. Pages describing strange biological samples. Testimony from soldiers who saw things that broke their understanding of reality. Photos that were confiscated and never returned. The Brazilian government maintains its position. Nothing happened. It was all a misunderstanding. But governments don't write 600 pages about nothing. Today, Virginia has become a UFO tourism destination. There is a water tower shaped like a flying saucer. Alien statues in the town square. But beneath the commercialization lies a truth that refuses to die. The people who were there know what they saw. They live with those memories every day. No amount of official denial can erase the terror and wonder of that encounter. This case should change everything about how we view our place in the universe. But instead, it has been buried, mocked, dismissed. Why? Because acknowledging it would require admitting that our governments have been lying to us about the most important question in human existence. Are we alone? The answer is no. And those in power have known this for a very long time. So what do you do with this information? Do you dismiss it as fantasy? Do you demand answers from your government? Or do you accept that we live in a reality far stranger and more dangerous than we ever imagined? The choice is yours. But remember this, the creatures of Virginia were real. Their capture was real. And somewhere in a classified facility, the evidence still exists. Waiting, watching, remembering the day humanity showed its true face to the cosmos.